Top Gear Tour with Vietnam Motorbike Tours. 10 days, clocking up around 2,000 kilometres, exploring Vietnam. Stunning views, rich culture, great food, and some of the best road riding in the world. Today we wake up in Hue, the former capital of Vietnam. Site of the old royal palace, there are spectacular buildings nearby, but most of us sleep in until it's time to hit that buffet breakfast. And after a good feed, Sir Toby Price says it's time to
see the real Vietnam.
Helmet on!
The plan today? Cruise out through some valleys, then hit the first of many twisty roads through the mountain ranges. Our destination? Sanh, site of a famous battle during the Vietnam War. Every Australian knows the Sanh song by Jimmy Barnes, and while the song is about a Vietnam vet's life after the war, the weird thing is Aussies weren't actually involved in the Battle of Sanh at all. As usual, we are riding out about the same time as kids head off to school, and their greetings are a great way to start the day. And it seems someone has been encouraging them to high-five Westerners on two wheels. For many of us, our scant knowledge about Vietnam comes from all those war films, so it's refreshing to see all these happy kids and the country heading into a much brighter future than a few decades ago. Plenty of corners coming up today, and I'm fully prepared and alert after a double-strength dose of caffeine. I really can't handle the Vietnam version of coffee, so I'm dipping into my secret stash.
One thing I have learned from bitter experience is I'm a coffee snob, so I have brought my own supplies for this trip. This will keep me a very happy boy.
The views are brilliant through these mountain passes, but of course the helmet cam fails to really capture it. And we barely got to put up the drone at all here, so you'll just have to take my word for it how amazing the scenery is here. While the seats on these cruisers are very comfortable, we still find ourselves getting monkey butt. But just as our asses start to complain, the group pulls over at some scenic spot to have a stretch. I had a chat with a few of the ladies. They were loving it. There's so much you see as you ride along, and while we riders just take quick glances at everything, the pillion passengers are free to soak it all in and even do quite a bit of filming.
Helmet on! Nothing to see!
If they do get sick of the bike, they can always take a break in the Mercedes support van, but hardly anyone ever does. Uh-oh, problem. Our fearless leader up ahead has picked up a puncture.
Just picked up a nail in my tyre that was attached to a bit of electrical wire. All sorted, mate?
Mate, I think you're all sorted. Boys have got you back on the road pretty quickly.
Mate, good to have you as the pit team.
Yeah, mate, I'm the overseer of everything. Making sure they're doing a real good job, but...
A fast fix under the strict supervision of Toby Price, and all is good. The handy thing about the support vehicles is the truck carries heaps of spare parts and even a spare bike in case of a major problem. So, no problem. Since we are heading to Khe Sanh, let's look at the war. The French colonised Vietnam for around a century, until Ho Chi Minh and his communist forces defeated the French in the mid-1950s. Then the northern half was controlled by Ho Chi Minh, the southern half by a guy called Brehm, a strongly anti-communist leader. There was going to be an election that would unify the country, but Diem started arresting all communist sympathisers and things went to shit quickly from that point on. Now the weird thing is, the USA actually supported Ho Chi Minh and his communist forces with arms and training to defeat the French. And Ho Chi Minh had a great respect for the USA. It too had defeated a colonial power, Britain, to regain its freedom. But unfortunately, foreign policy in the USA was the dominoes theory. Let one country become communist, then all its neighbours will too. So the Vietnam War started. Or, as the Vietnamese call it, the American War. The result? Around 2 million killed during the war. The vast majority were Vietnamese deaths, and sadly, many of them were civilians. Agent Orange destroyed much of the countryside for years, and the Red Cross reported this affected the health of around 1 million Vietnamese. The USA dropped around 7 million tonnes of bombs during the war, about 3 times the total amount of World War II. And our drone operator even found one of the many areas that still bear the crater marks. To make things worse, Agent Orange and bombing also occurred in Cambodia and Laos because the communists had supply lines running through those countries. So 2.7 million tonnes of bombs were dropped on Cambodia without the knowledge of the USA public, causing up to 500,000 deaths, many of them innocent villagers. In Laos, around 2 million cluster bombs were secretly dropped, killing about 50,000 Laotians. The US Air Force estimated that 30% failed to detonate, and unfortunately these cluster bombs are still killing people in Laos today, and mainly children. So here we are, Khe Sanh. This was a key USA Air Force base that came under sustained attack by the North Vietnamese in 1968. Much of the Vietnam War centred around guerrilla warfare, but this was one of those times it was a sustained siege over 6 months. Over 100,000 tonnes of bombs were dropped by US aircraft just in this area, along with 158,000 artillery rounds to defend the base. The North Vietnamese directed mortar, artillery and rocket fire from those distant hills you can see. Eventually, US reinforcements broke through and an evacuation was organised. A lot of equipment was destroyed or removed, but as you can see, some was still left behind. American commanders considered the defence of Khe Sanh a success, but shortly after the siege was lifted, the decision was made to dismantle the base rather than risk similar battles in the future. It's been a sobering day. For some of us, our fathers fought here in Vietnam. But today, and indeed for several decades, the Vietnamese have welcomed Australians and Americans back into Vietnam. And we rode through various towns that had the USA and Vietnam flags flying together. As we rode into our hotel, all the kids from the school next door were keen to say hi and have an impromptu soccer match. You have to admire a people who can not only recover from such a devastating war, but then welcome the descendants of former enemies as friends. It's a misty morning in Khe Sanh as we head off to fuel up and meet the locals.
Hello!
The Vietnamese love their soppy love songs, so our guys indulge in a bit of early morning romance. Guys, a very special thing we have this morning is an appearance from the blonde guy on Chips. He's actually too young to remember the show. That makes you Eric Estrada.
Who's that?
Come on, guys. Chips. I'm not that old. Mate, I think he's writing you a ticket.
Helmet on.
It's time to
See the real Vietnam.
Whether it's a back road or the main highway, we often have to share the road with these guys. Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. These characters usually spectate, but sometimes hit the road as well. In terms of pure riding enjoyment, today promises to be the best riding of the trip, even if we are still being stalked by this suspicious character. Heading for the Western Ho Chi Minh Trail, a concrete slab road that twists through misty mountains, thick jungle, blue rivers and isolated ethnic minority hamlets. Countless corners, a grippy surface and barely any traffic. It's a rider's dream come true. It's a beautiful, rugged part of Vietnam, and we stop regularly at places like this waterfall to soak it all in. The Ho Chi Minh Trail was a complex network of trails and roads built by the North Vietnamese to move men and equipment during the war. The USA later said it was one of the great achievements of military engineering in the 20th century because the trail was able to effectively supply troops despite the most intense bombing campaign in history, with bombs being dropped on average every 7 minutes along the trail network. This western part of the Ho Chi Minh Trail carves its way through very difficult terrain in one of the most remote areas. It was also the most heavily bombed part of the network. Originally, the Ho Chi Minh Trail used existing foot tracks that had existed for centuries. Equipment was lugged on people's backs, heavily loaded bicycles and ox carts. But as the war escalated, the North Vietnamese rapidly developed road networks and fleets of trucks. Bases provided food, housing, medical care and guides to the next way station. By 1965, the Ho Chi Minh Trail involved 24,000 men, 6 truck transport battalions, 2 bicycle transport battalions, a boat transport battalion, 8 engineer battalions and 45 liaison stations. Everything was concealed by dense forest and also man-made camouflage. The concrete slab highway we are riding on is relatively recent. The Ho Chi Minh Trail is seen as such an important part of Vietnam's history that even though this road gets so little traffic, the government has spent piles of money on a lasting quality road. And it's all a massive bonus for us. This section is often regarded as one of the ultimate bucket list motorbike rides internationally. All this cornering is hard work and builds up a big hunger. Time for lunch.
Hello there.
Can you hear the lambs, Clarice? Can you hear the lambs?
Does anyone think that you hadn't been fed today?
Well, yeah, we're just such an ordinary host, mate. We don't have enough food.
Going on, mate? Bit of training?
Bit of training for the Vietnam trip. Trying to get ready for Dakar 2020.
Sweet.
We're on.
And finally, our introduction to the Vietnamese toilet, at least in the more remote regions. Awesome. KTM prototype 2020.
Yeah, mate. This is my latest rip-off.
You going taking it into Dakar?
Yeah, maybe. I was going to do Baja first.
This your parachute for slowing it down?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And beer. I don't use Red Bull, I just go beer. Warm beer.
Occasionally, as we ride through villages, it looks as though there's money on the road. As a starving YouTube blogger, I'm very tempted to stop and grab handfuls of cash, but I don't want to drop behind the group too much. I finally found out what the go is at this brief stop when our guides explained. It's interesting, guys. If you look around, you can see $100 US bills. This is funeral money. They believe if you bury somebody with this stuff, they will come back reincarnated richer. Talking about our guides, our support crew were incredibly helpful through the trip. Cooking lunch, running errands, making sure everyone was happy. And it went beyond supporting us. They would even support random transport trucks up the steep climbs. Mind you, they are cheeky buggers too. Crazy sense of humour, little practical jokes, complete nutters.
Give me some money.
Ninja! Ah! Medic! Medic! Man down!
Money, I love you.
I got in one corner with the gravel.
What happens in Vietnam stays in Vietnam.
As long as it's not past the second knuckle, we're all good.
However, we gave as good as we got, and Bao would often find someone had pulled his spark plug cap off as payback. Usual suspect? Toby Price, no doubt.
What happened? Problem!
Can't touch this. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. Can't touch this.
Let's chat with the ladies and see how the trip is going so far.
It's amazing.
It's the best thing. We come from England and I'm from Norfolk. It's really flat
and you just got to come to Vietnam. It's the best place and it's the best holiday we've ever had. And
you said last night that you're going to cry.
And I'm going to cry.
Why is it the best trip? So haven't you not been out of your village at home, or have you travelled in other parts of the world, or what? It is a pretty special place though.
Am I allowed to swear?
You can swear if you like.
No, it's just an amazing place. We've travelled all over the world. We've been to Africa and Australia and New Zealand and Vietnam, and this trip has completely blown me away. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life, and I'll be back. I'll be coming back. It's just amazing.
The thing is,
and I'm going to cry when it ends.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to make me cry too.
I did Vietnam 2 years ago from south to north, but nothing like this. I mean, I thought I'd done it, and I just thought I'd be a little bit bored, but it's completely amazing.
Don't come to Vietnam and go on a bus, because you will never see any of
Or
it.
a train.
Or a train, or anything else. You can only come to Vietnam on a motorbike, because you'll never see the culture, the landscapes, the mountains, the tea fields, the people.
Everyone waving at you.
But I think with that said though, like we tell all our riders, our tours are definitely for experienced riders only.
Yeah.
Unless of course you're riding as a pillion with an experienced rider. But yeah, for sure, it is. We go to, as you've seen, we go to places that are yet to even be discovered by the outside world.
Yeah. There's people in the villages that have never seen Westerners, and they are just amazed by us, like we're amazed by how they live. And it's just, this is unspoiled, and if you want to see it now, you've got to come now, because I think one day when Jason's company has got bigger, that's going to be, everybody's going to know about it, but no one knows about it now.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure having you both riding with us, and we've still got a couple more days yet. So, cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So that was the Western Ho Chi Minh Trail. Later that night we tried to estimate how many corners we did, with guesses between a gazillion or a bazillion, and maybe 7 straight bits. All of this was through epic mountain scenery. Much of Vietnam has these limestone mountains that have eroded into very distinctive shapes. It also tends to form a lot of caves, and we'll be checking out some of the incredible cave systems later. We've come to expect classy accommodation, and tonight will be no exception. This idyllic spot on the river. Helmets off, beers open. What a ride. Sigh, yet another buffet breakfast. I'm trying not to get too used to this, otherwise I'll be so depressed when I go home to my boring bowl of muesli. Life jackets on. Destination? Phong Nha Cave. Details? Well, it's almost 8 kilometres long, has 14 grottos, and a 14-kilometre long underground river passes through it. Apologies in advance, but since we aren't riding, this seems more like a documentary, so it's time to go a little bit Attenborough-ish. Duck your heads, it's the incredible Phong Nha Cave. These stalactites at the entrance resemble teeth, and inspired the name, as Phong Nha means wind and teeth. The cave system features underground passageways and river caves filled with inspiring stalactites and stalagmites. It's been a great way to spend a day off the bikes, and tomorrow we'll be back in the saddle again. Can't wait. We are riding through the remarkable Phong Nha Ke Bang National Park. These are some of the oldest karst mountains in Asia, dating back to around 400 million years ago. And over that time, the limestone has slowly dissolved to form hundreds of cave systems with unique features like underground rivers, forests and beaches. And the largest cave in the world is nearby, so large it has its own climate system. We can either walk a few kilometres to the cave or get a lift. As lazy Westerners, guess what we choose. However, we still need to do this steep climb. I'm proud to say I was actually beating Toby Price up this hill climb until he overtook me, but even so, I hung in there for a while. I'll certainly never get to say that again in my life. The cave is an incredible 31 kilometres long and resembles a series of interlinking cathedrals. Incredibly intricate patterns and shapes have formed as the limestone dissolved and reformed. Let's speed things up to give a sense of just how huge this cave is. Good morning, Vietnam. So it's yet another buffet breakfast before our slave driver and ride leader, Bao, issues the order.
Helmet on! Nothing to see!
And then we are off to
See the real Vietnam.
You can see on the map we are sticking to the plains today, but with mountain ranges either side of us. So after so many corners and mountains, it's actually a pleasant change, riding broad, sweeping corners and plenty of straights today. But all still with some great scenery as the mountain ranges flow past us on both sides. I must admit, I thought 10 days of road riding was going to get a bit boring because I'm more into dirt riding. But it's the constant changes in the type of riding and terrain that make every day so different. One of our support crew mentioned that even after all these years of touring, they keep tweaking and fine-tuning the tours based on feedback from riders. Speaking of feedback, we haven't heard from Sir Toby Price for a while.
How's the trip going so far, Toby?
Yeah, so far the trip's been unreal. I've came to Vietnam a long time ago, but never ventured out of Ho Chi Minh City. So to see this amazing landscape like this, it just feels like in another world. So it's now the old tour here is Vietnam motorbike tours has been an amazing trip and experience of a lifetime. So we're pumped to be here.
VMT supermodels everywhere. That's how we roll, mate.
Amen. Heading for a great little spot for lunch today. We are parking on a dam wall. The guys will cook us up the usual lunch and then a quick boat trip to check out a tea farm. In the distance, water buffalo, so we send the drone over to check them out. These guys are often called the tractors of the East. For 5,000 years they've been used for transport, ploughing fields, and oddly enough, authentic mozzarella cheese is always made from buffalo milk. So pizza joints are popping up all over Vietnam using this properly made mozzarella. Who would have thunk it? loving these little out-of-the-way spots for lunch. Our guys cook for us just in case we get sick eating the local grub, but we pay the locals back by buying lots of drinks from them. A pleasant boat trip across the dam to check out a tea farm. It's the Vietnamese New Year.
Almost there, John.
So these are all just locals out for the day. And they're surprised and very happy to see all these tall white people in their midst, despite their weird hats.
Helmet on! Nothing to see!
Woohoo, straight roads. A great chance to relax and enjoy the scenery. We'll be back into plenty of mountains and endless corners again tomorrow. This is strange. We hit this traffic jam in the middle of nowhere. We gently push our way through, then slowly realise it's a procession of some sort. And then we realise it's either a funeral or some kind of religious thing. In some cultures, you might get beaten up barging through like this, but as always, the Vietnamese are very chilled when it comes to this sort of caper. Sorry guys. Apparently the guys do have to turn some people away from doing these tours. While Vietnam is one of the safest Asian countries to visit, the roads are unpredictable. And there are so many tight corners in the mountains, they have to insist you have plenty of rider experience. So if someone has just got their license or not ridden for decades, they will just say, sorry mate, no go. And this makes a lot of sense. I've got around 7 years of road riding under my belt, way more as a dirt rider. And while the speeds are never that high, there were plenty of moments I was glad to have that experience. When travelling, I always enjoy trying to pick up a few words in the local lingo. But the Vietnamese language? Big problem. Like Chinese, it's a tonal language needing all sorts of tongue-twisting oral gymnastics for Westerners attempting to use it. Years ago, I shared a house with 2 Vietnamese guys, and they taught me a few words in Vietnamese in exchange for help with English. Well, after 6 months, I still couldn't get the basics of how are you correct, and they eventually gave up on me. And anyway, it's probably safer not to attempt the language. If you get one tone or sound incorrect, the words completely change meaning. Picture this, you walk up to the immigration counter at the airport and say, "Hi, how are you? I'm going to Saigon." Which in my shitty Vietnamese is Xin chào, anh có khỏe không? Đến tôi là Paris. Tôi đi Saigon. But as usual, I get a few tones wrong, and this is what they hear. To make things worse, the dialect changes, so in central Vietnam, this is what they hear. And up north in Hanoi, it changes again, Sai. So you can see the language is a bit of a minefield. In fact, some believe this is how the whole Vietnam War started. Some American dude is in a restaurant and tries to order spring rolls in Vietnamese, and instead it became a suggestion for illegal sexual acts involving water buffalo and the Vietnamese flag. A cool misty morning in Quan Song, just one of many little towns nestled in beautiful valleys throughout the highlands. Breakfast is in this open area restaurant overlooking the river. And the steel horses we ride are checked over by our faithful support crew.
After 5 days on the roads, our trusty steeds are starting to look more like dirt bikes.
Helmets on! Tally ho! Chop the way!
So, it's day 7 of our 10-day tour. The plan today? Well, I'll just read it from the Vietnam Motorbike Tours website and we'll see how accurate it is. Today we ride through a series of lofty mountain passes, through remote valleys and over limestone peaks covered in mysterious bamboo forests close to the Laos border. Today's ride gives us a sense of what it's like for many of the more than 50 different ethnic minority groups in Vietnam to live in such mountainous landscape, with most of their food and building materials coming from the immediate vicinity, just as it has done for centuries. After hours of great riding, with plenty of stops to admire the scenery and meet the locals, we'll roll into Mai Chau, a pleasant valley of green rice paddies. Here we settle into our comfortable, atmospheric lodgings for a peaceful night in the countryside. Sounds pretty good. Oh, and before I forget, a quick disclaimer. Viewer discretion is advised. This video contains scenes of white people dancing, which most viewers will find very disturbing. You have been warned. Most mornings we ride past countless kids on the way to school. It's really uplifting to be greeted with cheery smiles and waves early in the morning. If you've been following the series, you will know Toby Price is with us, chilling out after his second win in Dakar. He had already broken his wrist only weeks before the event. Unfortunately, Dakar really stuffed it up badly, so he's been in the Mercedes van the whole trip. He still seems to be enjoying himself though.
Yeah, the scenery and roads here are quite remarkable. You go through so much forestry stuff, to then come out into tea plantation, to then being in banana fields and stuff. It really changes up every day, and like mountains, I've never seen mountains as big as these things that I've been through. It's one of them very vast and crazy landscapes, but Vietnam delivered it all, and yeah, excited to come back and check it out even more.
Impossible to get bored. There's such a huge variety of roads and terrain here. Especially today, as we seem to thread through so many villages and little towns, connected by highways or bumpy back roads. One thing I haven't mentioned is the reactions we get from locals with these motorbikes. They might be basic cruisers with small engines to meet the road rules, but they sound like much bigger bikes, especially in a pack. And whenever we ride past, heads turn and often jaws drop. This size bike is pretty much never seen in Vietnam, so we're the centre of attention wherever we go.
Okay, this is my first trip to Vietnam. The riding's been absolutely magnificent. I've been very fortunate to be able to spend the time with my daughter-in-law and son on this particular trip, and the scenery just keeps getting better and better all the time. It's great.
Quite a few of the guys have discovered the hidden turbo boost button, so here and there the pace picks up. Little engines make for piles of fun, what with needing to carry your corner speed and plenty of gear changes to keep the donk on the boil. Dare I say it? These little cruisers are sexy things. Very remote area tonight, so there's no hotel. Instead, we are bunking down dormitory style in a traditional homestay. The ride in, spectacular, winding our way through terraced rice paddies. Many said despite all the classy hotels, these wooden huts were the highlight when it came to accommodation. And right on our doorsteps, those terraced rice fields. A perfect setting for a good feed, then some icy cold beers. A real treat after dinner, some of the locals show us their traditional dances. And like all good music, the songs revolve around boy meets girl, romance, and rice harvesting. Next, some bamboo torture. The normally hospitable Vietnamese do their best to break our ankles. And damn, the Vietnamese know how to party. The rice wine was flowing, and before you know it, the music is thumping and some line dancing starts up. A great way to finish today's adventure in the real Vietnam. There are thousands of beautiful valleys across Vietnam, and we stayed in one of them last night. But no rest for the wicked. It's time to endure the daily commute as our slave driver issues the order.
Amazon, nothing to say, mate. Tally ho, chop the way.
And what a way to commute. Mist-covered mountains, terraced rice fields, and cool mountain air. It's a tough life, but someone has to do it. This is the perfect way to
see the real Vietnam on the rice field. Amazing view.
Alrighty then, day 8. What's on the agenda? According to the Friendly Vietnam Motorbike Tours website, we leave the green embrace of Mai Chau Valley in the morning. With the mists rising off the paddy fields, we hit the road and head higher into the northwest mountains. Okay, check, done that. What else? As we arrive in the Moc Chau Plateau, the trees fade away to reveal acres of tea plantations. This area is famous for its excellent brew. Okay, well, I don't like coffee, but I don't mind riding past tea plantations. What else? The temperatures drop as we ride higher. The landscape becomes barren and bare, making it appear isolated and remote. Indeed, this part of Vietnam was a special semi-autonomous zone until the late 20th century. It's certainly a day of elevation changes, and I suspect we are riding up and down this plateau throughout the day. Exceptional views, picturesque valleys, loving it.
What's going on, mate? Where are you going?
I think I'm going across the water, mate.
I think we are.
Yeah.
Hey, how's the ride going, mate?
Oh, just totally awesome. Unbelievable.
And for the viewers back home that don't know who this is the mastermind and the maker of the man himself, Toby Price.
Yeah.
You breed them strong, mate.
Oh, he's a tough fella, isn't he?
He's a tough fella.
Yeah.
Plenty of water in Vietnam, and there are plenty of dams too. Many of these generate hydroelectricity, and actually 70% of Vietnam's electricity is generated this way. And somewhere around here is the biggest hydroelectric scheme in all of Indochina. We are riding in the dry season, but it still rains occasionally. Over the 10-day trip, we just got some light rain for one morning only. Apparently the Vietnam crew get asked a lot about when is the best time to ride in Vietnam. And apparently it doesn't matter that much. The weather patterns vary a lot from north to south, and the guys have based themselves kind of in the centre at Nha Trang because it offers the best year-round riding. And they varied the destinations to suit the weather patterns. For example, the monsoonal storms way up north mean tours that, like ours, finishing in Hanoi, are only run for a few months of the year. Corners, corners, and more corners. I figure we must be climbing the plateau again, and it's hard to keep your eyes on the road with stunning views like this. A very comfortable night in a posh hotel at Son La. There's the usual excellent buffet breakfast, while our faithful support crew load our luggage into the truck and provisions into the support van. It's day 9, but everyone is still pumped to get on the bikes and continue to
See the real Vietnam. That is fantastic.
We are way up near the Chinese border now, so time to head east over the Hoang Lien Son Range, Vietnam's highest mountains. These are actually the eastern tail of the Himalayas, so we'll be twisting our way across the rugged highlands all day. As usual, instead of the highway, we take a bewildering array of back roads to see regions of Vietnam that very few travellers ever get to see. Earlier in the series, we mentioned there are more than 50 minority groups in Vietnam. In this area, they are mainly the Hmong, Dao and Thai people. The Hmong are particularly well known for their bright coloured tapestry, and when we stopped to check out the views, the locals popped over to check us out. The Hmong mainly live in southern China, Vietnam and Laos. In Chinese history, they were subject to genocide attempts as they were seen as subhuman. In Laos today, they are still persecuted, but thankfully the Vietnamese government has treated them reasonably well. Further down the road, we are now in the region of the Thai minority group, who have an interesting custom. Once married, the women have to wear their hair in a bun for the rest of their lives. And this creates problems given almost everyone gets around on scooters. So some women just have their helmets perched on their hair bun where there's pretty much no protection at all. Others cut a big hole in the helmet and add this extension. Again, probably not great for safety, but it means not getting hassled by the cops. Oh, and just in case marriage comes up when chatting with a local in Vietnam, if you are over 30 and single, sometimes it's easier to just say you are married. Otherwise, they may feel sorry for you. Apparently, not having a wife and children is considered bad luck. The views are simply stunning, and eventually we have to call a halt to get a good look before someone runs off the road, trying to do two things at once. Or in my case, three things at once, as I try to hold a camera as well. A few of us discussed the pros and cons of this tour versus, say, organising your own trip. I'm sure some may see it differently, but man, it's so much easier doing it this way. No problems with the cops because everything has been taken care of. No getting lost. No problems if there's a breakdown or injury. I guess you would have more freedom travelling independently, but after all these years, the guys have tailored the tours so well, I doubt any of us would want to do it any differently. I've always shunned package tours when travelling, but this feels nothing like a package tour. Just passionate riders sharing an epic journey across Vietnam. And everyone I spoke to felt the same way.
Yeah, this is my first time as a PN passenger, and Vietnam Motorbike Tours has well and truly far exceeded my expectations. Amazing scenery, great food, every day's been different, and it's been a one-off experience of a lifetime, and I'll come back, definitely.
How you doing? I just heard Lisa and exactly what she said, all the same. Awesome.
On our snaking descent to the town of Nha Lo, there are stupendous views over the famous rice terraces of the Northwest Mountains, which at certain times of the year cascade down the slopes in bright yellows and greens. We are getting closer to civilization now, and the hustle and bustle of this busy town comes as a shock. A spot of brekkie in this local joint, then it's time to gear up. The town of Nha Lo is our final taste of the highlands before we head east toward the coast. Great to see other riders out and about on some really ancient bikes. No electric start on these babies, just a left-hand kickstart at a really weird angle.
Amazon, everyone!
Amazon, nothing to see!
A bit of fuel, and then it's time to
see the real Vietnam.
Electric bicycles are very popular up north. We rode past at least 100 of these on our way out of town. Not a bad idea given they have so much hydroelectric power, here in Vietnam. Spot the dirt rider trying to ride a road bike. So this is the Red River Valley, the cradle of Vietnamese civilization, and where the first Vietnamese kings ruled thousands of years ago. And the Red River was used to conduct trade with nearby China. There is a highway all the way to Hanoi, but as usual we take the road less travelled and only pop out onto the main roads for the corners through mountain passes. In the rider briefing, they said we would be passing lots of trucks and just to be careful, even though they are generally good drivers. And they said the traffic in Hanoi gets insane. 20 years ago, I remember Hanoi as a kind of big country town, filled with bicycles and influences from the French colonial era. Now, it's a highly polluted metropolis of around 8 million people. You can still find very picturesque parts of the old city, but once the tour is finished, a lot of our guys are heading for nearby Ha Long Bay. Ha Long means descending dragon, and this World Heritage listed area features thousands of limestone karst formations, inlets and tiny islands. Quite a few of the islands are hollow and feature huge caves. It really is a must-see if you get this far north. No more back roads, it's all freeway now, so time to speed things up. Is there anything these scooters can't carry?
This is our first trip on the bikes and, you know, it's just absolutely amazing. This area, the people and the animals and the wildlife.
It's just a trip of a lifetime, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and you just got to do it. And even at my age, I'm quite older, and for an older person to be on the bikes as well is really good. As long as you can be a little bit fitter and Ellie younger, they
my
love it.
First time on a bike, but I'm still managing to do it all
so
right.
if you can, if you're getting into your 60s, do it.
If you're getting into your 30s, do it.
And finally, the traffic of Hanoi. After 10 days in the mountains, the frenetic pace and energy of Hanoi comes as a shock. But I was surprised to hear our crew say this was comparatively light traffic, possibly due to the Tet New Year holiday. As far as I know, we haven't lost a single rider this trip, even in traffic like this. Why? Our eagle-eyed support riders have been amazing. They look chilled, but for 10 days they have been keeping a close eye on us, marking every corner, making sure our side stands are up, indicators get turned off, giving back massages, running errands, cooking lunch, 1,001 things every day. So in my shitty Vietnamese, cảm ơn nhiều. Guys, thank you so much. It's been an epic 10-day trip. Mountain passes, terraced rice fields, hospitable locals, spectacular caves, countless corners, beautiful scenery, and thousands upon thousands of corners. It's been a blast, and I'm sure many of us will be returning to
see the real Vietnam.